What's up, guys? Last week I did an update for the 2027 GMC Sierra AT4Xs, and I figured I'd show you guys some fuel economy between the 6.2 and the 3-liter. Now this is most likely going to be the last year for the 6.2 liter. I'm sure the 3-liter Duramax is going to get carried over for the redesigned truck, so I feel like this video is important. I borrowed these trucks from Jerry Seiner GMC here in South Jordan, Utah. They are both available for sale. Let's go ahead and drive the 6.2 liter first, because all I gotta do is just start it up, wait 30 seconds, and then go. On the diesel, here's what you gotta do. Alright, so we're gonna basically preheat. So I'm gonna hold down the start button. You'll see the icon pop up right there, and it went away. It's pretty much, I think, what, over 40 degrees, and the sun's out, so preheat wasn't going to be as long on this one. It's been a long time since I've driven an AT4X in a half-ton segment, and I'm really happy I had a chance to, because I want to hear the tires. I want to be able to see what the fuel economy is with this off-road bumper. Now obviously with this being the X, you got that AEV bumper, which means you're going to get a little bit less fuel economy compared to like the 2022 models that did not have this as standard equipment. Now you guys will see, hopefully here, I'm going 70 miles an hour. Alright, I'm running at 1400 RPMs, 1450 in that ballpark. And so that's what's nice about having that 323 rear. 33-inch tires. These are obviously the Goodyear Wrangler Territory MTs. They've been using those pretty much since inception, I would say. Now the altitude where we are right now is probably about 4,800 feet. It hasn't had a time to adjust here. I actually pulled this out of my truck, so if you would like to add this to it, you can get like a nice mount from Barbeques and have this all look like it's from the factory. I have it in my truck, which looks really nice. But overall, the nice thing about having this gas 6.2 is less maintenance. You don't have to run diesel exhaust fluid. There's no particulate filter on this truck, so you don't have to worry about, you know, soot building up and then your truck going into a regen. Now even with those drawbacks, the diesel is going to still outperform this on fuel economy. Now let's give it a little bit of juice. Wow. That's where this engine went. This is literally where this engine wins at. Even at, you know, 60 miles an hour, you feel like you have a lot more available power. Once you get over 50 miles an hour with that diesel, you don't have as much push. Let's go ahead and drive that next, and then we'll jump back over to this truck in a second. Where do we begin? Owning a diesel is not what it used to be, and we've known that for over a decade now. So first things first, you definitely want this with the diesel. That way you know when your truck's going into a regen, because GM has conveniently left that out of this screen here. You also have to make sure you do a lot of highway driving to make sure your DPF gets hot enough to burn off soot. That way you don't have to go into regens more frequently. Also, diesel exhaust fluid, you have to make sure this engine is warmed up. I literally had to wait another 5 minutes to let this engine get up to speed. And there is no high idle on this truck either. I thought there would be, so I had to drive around the lot a little bit to let the engine get up to temperature, because obviously that's going to affect things. However, when you see the fuel economy, it's all worth it in the end. Even though this truck's cost of ownership is going to be higher, especially if you're like a diesel fanboy, you know you have to run fuel additive in this engine. And that 6.2 liter is probably not even worth it because it's direct injection. But for this one, the additive helps with the lubricity of the diesel, simply because EPA regulations, they took down the sulfur count in our diesel, which took away the lubricity. So it was like, I think it's like what, like 20 parts per million? Something like that. I want to say it was like at 500 at some point in this country. So it's just a lot of foolishness. So yeah, I have this set up with regen. It's letting me know if it does go into a regen. Then the DPF distance between regens, which is good, and then engine oil temp. For some reason, for the gas engine, it will let me see this, but on this one, engine oil temp's at 140 degrees. Exhaust gas temp is at 704. So we got that exhaust nice and warm. And as far as the RPMs go, at 70, we're 1450. So basically the same at 60, 70 miles an hour, I should say. And these trucks have all the nice safety features. This has lane keep assist, and it will steer the wheel for you too. The stop-start function, I wouldn't use that on this truck simply because that's a turbocharger, and you want that oil to continue to flow when you're at a standstill. So I would probably turn that off, especially if you're towing, for sure. Now, if you put it in tow haul mode, this truck does have an exhaust brake, so this truck does have an advantage for the towing aspect of it too. Let's jump back over to the 6.2 liter. So you guys see the transmission temp there. It's at 109 degrees. We haven't been driving much, probably like maybe only 7-8 minutes now. Let's go ahead and drop down to 60. I want you guys to see here at 60 miles an hour, we're pretty much under 1300 RPM. Let me just, like, it's like right there, but it's just bouncing around a little bit. One thing I like about these AT4X is because they're the half tons, the Multimatic does give you a softer ride compared to the HDs. And I get that question still. And I always tell people, if you're looking to tow heavy, you got to go with the HD. But if you want the ride, go with the half ton. Now on this truck, you guys see the tire pressure is at 39 PSI, pretty much all the way around. Let's go ahead and drive that diesel again. I want you guys to see the transmission temp at this point too. Transmission's at 127 degrees for the Duramax diesel. Tire pressure is pretty much the exact same as the last truck there. And one thing I will note, I feel as though you have a little bit more sway. And I almost wonder if it's because of the air getting under this truck. That's what it feels like, because it's a little windy today. Now I want to show you guys the third page on my iDash, or this is the Data Monster. But they have a new one, which is the iDash Pro, which is Bluetooth capable. But you guys can see some of the temps, boost. I love that. They don't give you a boost gauge for this truck too, by the way. But look at the boost on this thing, man. 22 PSI, that seems kind of high for this little guy. If you've ever seen the turbo out of this truck, it's tiny. But yeah, these seats are pretty comfortable, and if you don't know, you can actually put on your massage function. Let's see if I can get it to pop up here. There it is. Look at that. Yes, you have massage seats, 3 levels of intensity, 5 different settings. I think my favorite is probably relief, or I would say need is probably my favorite. Level 3, and it's only for the seat back too. Here are the numbers on the door. And you guys see the payload is 1,275 pounds and then 38 PSI all the way around. For the diesel, you guys see the numbers? This actually has a little bit more payload because it has a higher gross vehicle weight reading. And then tire pressure is 38 PSI all the way around. We're pretty much at the midpoint. They actually redid all of this on Bangor Highway here in Utah. So now I get to go a little bit further down and get a little bit more mileage here. So I may catch the light. Oh no, I'm not. Actually, I caught the light. I caught the light. Now this truck does have stop start. So we'll see if it turns off here in a second. All right, so for this trip, I reset it. We're at 16.3 MPG at 8.8 miles driven. And that's with 33-inch tires, very aggressive front end. This truck is not built for fuel economy. If you're buying an AT4X and you're going to be concerned about fuel economy, don't buy this truck. Now, granted, I haven't mentioned this yet, but premium fuel is what you need to burn in this truck. So that's something that you have to obviously be reminded of. Stop start works great. I don't mind using that in the wintertime because it's not hot outside, so you don't have to worry about the AC getting warm. Let's go ahead and see where that diesel is. Now here's the beauty of having a diesel fuel economy. Now remember, this truck has 33-inch tall tires. It has really bad drag on the front end because of how this truck is designed. It's not designed for fuel economy. Remember that. And we're still getting 20 miles to the gallon. Now we got to go back the opposite direction and get back up to speed, but 20.5 MPG is amazing. Really good stuff here. One last thing, maybe the truck knows better than to go using that stop start right off the highway, because I didn't disable it and it's not coming on. So with the gas truck, it came on right when I stopped in the same spot. So that's nice that maybe GM has built in some type of temperature gauge for that turbo to know that, hey, before you stop the engine, that has to come down to a certain temperature, because oil has to flow through that. That way that turbocharger doesn't get too hot and of course burn your oil. This is where the gas engine is going to shine. When you need to get over and past people, I feel as though you have such low end torque that whenever you stomp on it, it just goes. Now at 80 miles an hour, we are at 1700 RPM. Figure 1700, 1750. And that's nice because, again, if you're towing a trailer, you probably could utilize 10th gear, although I probably recommend locking out 10th if you're climbing grades and stuff like that. But overall, I don't know. I think that for the half-ton segment, having a diesel requires a lot of TLC. It's not like owning a gas engine. It's just easy to own this truck. Diesel, not so much. I'm gonna show you guys what the RPM is with that truck, and then I'll show you guys the final fuel economy here. When you're cruising at 70 miles an hour, you need to get over. This is where the diesel really does suffer, because I feel like 305 horsepower is just low. You're not gonna really get the oomph that you want, right? But we gotta get up to 80 miles an hour because I wanna show you guys the RPM here. So let's go ahead and let it go back into 10th. Come on, get in there. Right there. Oh, wrong page. Sorry guys, I wasn't even in the right page. But did you guys see that oil temp? It's at 223. No wonder they don't want to show you the temperatures for these trucks. That oil temp is no joke. Wow, that is pretty high. Let me get back up to 80 and I'll show it to you guys here in a second. So that's 80 miles an hour. So about the same, I would say. So yeah, traffic's getting a little bad. That's why whenever I do my drive videos, I try to do it mid-morning. And today I'm pretty much done for this because, yeah, traffic's just getting worse and worse. But yeah, we should be back to the dealership here in a second, and I'll show you guys where we end off at. The 6.2 liter has been out for a long time and is still putting out the same 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. All that power goes through a 10-speed transmission. This truck does have a 323 rear. Let's see how it performs. Are you guys ready? Here we go.
30, 60.
This 3-liter diesel has an inline-6 design, and it makes 305 horsepower, 495 pound-feet of torque. All that power goes through a 10-speed transmission and 323 rear on this truck as well. Here we go.
30, 60.
Just pull back in. 18.1 MPG, 18.6 miles driven, and the stop start works flawlessly. Every time I've stopped, pretty much it kicks on. We just pulled back in. I'm gonna stop right in the same area. You guys see right there? 22.6, 18.6 miles driven, and actually the stop start came on. Now I have to pretty much stay at idle going through the parking lot here, so I do like that. And oh wow, did you guys see what happened? I guess when the stop start comes on, it does turn off the data monster here, but I think on the iDash Pro won't do that. But yeah, 221 for the oil temp. That is pretty high. And then for the engine coolant is 223. Transmission's at 196. That's just about what I would think the AT4X diesel would get, about 23 if you're on the highway. Now, as far as the gas engine goes, I thought that one did really dang good. 18 MPG, guys. I was not expecting that. I thought it was gonna get closer to that 16 number, but you guys see these bumpers, they really do put a hurting on your fuel economy. You know, normally you have a valance, the bumper is a little bit further down, because that's going to help with your drag coefficient and things like that too. But regardless of it, again, if you're buying a truck like this and you're concerned about fuel economy, you shouldn't be buying this. I mean, I would say the AT4 is about where I would stay at if I was really trying to get over 20 MPG with like a gas engine. But regardless of that, these trucks perform really good. Definitely concerned about that oil temp. I mean, 223, guys, I would be changing that oil a little bit sooner than what they tell you at the manufacturer, because that's pretty warm without towing. Now this truck is heavy. You guys saw the weights, and I'll have it here in the spreadsheet. But yeah, I think that those temps are a little higher than I would have expected them to be, which is why I like to see numbers. I love to see temperatures. That way you have an idea what it is when you're unloaded and when you're towing. But yeah, if I had to choose between these two trucks, I would always choose diesel because I'm a diesel fanboy. I've said this in the past and I'll say it again and again. Owning a diesel today is like having a rescue dog with two legs. It's gonna need a little bit more tender love and care than you would if you were to get a nice pup and raise it from when they're young. But yeah, it's still a decision that you have to make. I like showing fuel economy because some people are kind of torn between the two, and it's just nice to see how much it's going to cost you extra for that diesel. Now the diesel exhaust fluid, I don't know what they get for the half tons. I've heard that they can get around 500 miles to a gallon if you're unloaded, but when you're towing, that number can go down significantly. It could go down to like 200-300 miles per gallon. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know you guys' thoughts down below. Would you get the gas or would you get the diesel? See you guys soon.